Sawtooth Day, what's happening, y'all? It's one of the Sawtooth scales I made right there. I'm kind of building a different, I guess every week I'm gonna show y'all something different up on the scales. But I thought this one came out kind of cool too. I didn't expect to put this one on this one and kind of make it work, but it kind of works. I like how it works. I got the copper on this one. We flying right into it this week. Hope y'all had a good week. You know, the whole selling the scale thing, there's a lot of learning curves involved in that. There's another one. Some mishaps had happened, but out of the people that got one, only one guy that I haven't talked to yet, didn't receive his yet. So everybody else has already got theirs and they're happy with it. So glad they're starting to get in people's hands and people are liking them. Once again, I'm just showing you different color combinations. I like the way this one came out a lot. Hopefully that light's coming out good. We all can see that texture and that scale and stuff too. I like this one, came out real cool. Anyhow, all right, enough talking about that crap. I got to be a little self-promoting, right? But anyways, it was a learning experience. So anybody that's had me, I don't know, ship them a knife, or they always know that I use FedEx, and generally speaking, I like the bubble packs. It just makes it quick and easy for me. I just drop them off, tell FedEx just to get it going. It costs a couple bucks more than what it would to cost one of those little USPS boxes. It's like maybe 17 bucks instead of 12 bucks or whatever it is. So I like FedEx usually better. But believe it or not, one of the scales actually got bent. Two of them actually got bent, but one of them was very, very minor. The other one got bent pretty good. But luckily the dude that got it was cool about it. He bent it back. It wasn't no big deal. The scale didn't get hurt as far as the finish goes, but it got bent. And it definitely didn't leave here bent. So that kind of sucked, but learning for me, and you know, like, you see, like, well, we'll just back up for a second and say, like, just YouTubers. Like, if you're not a YouTuber or have never posted anything online, it looks easy, looks like it'd be super, like, not an issue. And it is for some people, but for a lot of us, we got to kind of learn how to do it. And that's the same with this. It's a learning process, and I'm kind of learning my mistakes as I go, kind of thing. But I'm glad I didn't make more than what I made, because you know, a lot of people said they were going to buy them. I think I had like 8 people say they were going to buy scales, and I sold like half of that. So like 5 of them are gone. So if you're interested in scales, just hit me up. We'll work it out. Enough self-promotion. So I got this knife back from my brother Nick Edwards this week. I let him borrow this one. And y'all remember how I got sick of this thing. I'd done on the mods. So let's see. I had reprofiled the blade, refinished the blade. I made the thumb stud for the backside. I refinished all the titanium. I enlarged the hole to access of it. I put this the pocket clip on there. And then after I did that, I didn't even get the hardware right. I was going to put plugs in these holes, and I just lost interest in it. But I'm kind of glad I sent it to Nick for a while and just put it on the back burner, because now when I got it back, I was like, oh, I can definitely do some other stuff with this. I'm kind of reinvigorated on this project. So look to see future things modded on this thing. While I'm talking about him, he was so cool to send it back, some of his strops. So I'm just going to show you a couple of his he sent back. And these are preloaded. He can load them if you want them or not, or if you don't want. I'm not trying to be a salesman for Nick, but these are quality, man. Like, I don't know what else you can expect from a guy who does this stuff. Like, this is top-notch work. So if y'all are in the need for a strop, please go hit Nick Edwards up. It's Behind the Edge. I think he's on Instagram and YouTube, so hit him up. So it's been, I'm going to play basically catch up this week. We worked pretty much right into as soon as the second hit, we were pretty much wide open. So I didn't really have a whole lot of time to do it. I didn't even make it to the machine shop this week. So I like to mess with something every week if I can. So I got home about a little after 3 yesterday, and I had time to mess around. So I was playing around and made the J2. I might remember it was a really shiny stonewash before, and I just refinished it. So I blasted it, tumbled it. So the same kind of finish that I put on that Sawtooth scale I put on this. A little bit lighter blast, a little bit more tumbling. And I also left the inside, which you're not going to be able to see probably in this video for shit, but I also left the inside kind of shiny. So it still has the same action it did before, but now it's got really good grip. So this is exactly what I was looking for on this. And it kind of the contrast of it. Remember before it kind of looked all monotone, I guess, all the same look and finish. Now it has a definitely distinctive. You can definitely see the hardware more, pocket clip more, and that sort of thing. Anyway, I like the way that mod came out. So kind of toot my own horn, I guess, a little bit, but I'm happy with the finishes I'm finally getting, I guess. All right, I got to back clean it for a minute because, especially JD, he's had his knife sitting here for so long. I haven't done anything with him. Just been busy through the holidays and that sort of thing. So if y'all bear with me, these are not knives that I would normally buy. These are knives that were loaned in. JD asked me to do a couple things for some of his knives. And then Steve, the guy who sent that M3 that I did the video on last week, sent a couple more to me to check out as well. So I want to kind of go over them briefly. These are not normally knives that I would sit here and brag on you about. Or, you know, say I bought this, I'm super happy with that and that sort of thing. These are just loaned in knives. So y'all understand that this ain't like me trying to be a salesman. I'm just kind of going over it from my point of view, what I like about these knives or don't like about these knives. So just 6 of them real quick. So I'm going to try to sort of go through them and kind of interweave them best I can. So this Tucson, JD did the, JD for EDC did the anno work on it. There's a video up on his channel. And this finger control was a little bit rough on it. So I went ahead and cleaned it up for him. I did a video in it and I'm going to patch it in the end of this video. So if you want to see that 6-7 minute video about how I cleaned up that finger control and made it look better, it's definitely worth checking out. So a quick view of this thing. Like, I don't know that I've ever handled this model or not of Tucson, but like all Tucsons, I'm very impressed with their machine work. I also like the fact that they do different stuff. Like, you don't see other knives look like that. I mean, it looks like almost a pterodactyl or something. It's crazy looking beak or something. I don't know. Looks like a dinosaur or something. I like how they take risks on style. And that little finger control, JD started it and I just cleaned it up for him. But that little finger control, so you could choke all the way up, man, it makes it so nice. I really like this knife. This finger flicker, you know, that's pretty much all it's, for me. I guess I can probably get my thumb over here and actuate it with my thumb, but it's way easier with the finger for sure. JD's got it tuned really nice. He did a really good job with the anno work too. This is a Schrade that I have not come up with a solid plan for with JD yet, but the pocket clip is basically the issue with him. And you can see how high it rides, and then also like the how blocky the end of that pocket clip is. See how blocky that is? No transition into it. It's just kind of all, I don't know, square shouldered up straight out of the scale. Problem is, when I took this off, they actually milled it into that carbon fiber. So if it was just like on top of it, I could have made something look way better for it. But now I'm pretty much stuck with this hole pattern back here and this milled out section. So I got to come up with something to make it look good. So it's going to be a project for sure. But I think JD's going to be patient with me and we'll come up with something to make it look good. So stay tuned for future mods for that guy. It is access lock. You know, I'm impressed with the Schrades as far as like them actually stepping up to the game and doing American-made knives. That's awesome. I'm no more of a fan of these access locks depending on whoever does it. Benchmade, Hogue, any of them. Like, just not my style, man. Like, it's, you know, we all have styles. It's just not mine. The third one that he asked or had sent me in and asked me to modify a little bit of stuff on was this. Damn, I'm not going to remember the name. Sorry, bro. This Vero. Y'all probably know. Impulse is coming to mind, but I don't know if this that one or the... I can't remember. But I think I've showed it, or maybe have or hadn't showed it. I don't remember. And all I did for it was this clip had really sharp edges on the end of it. It's basically pointing right up in your hand. So I went ahead and just radiused that end of that clip. I don't know if you can see it or not, how it's nice and smooth. And I just reblasted it and stonewashed it. And yes, it's a little dark. And yes, it's my stonewash finish that I'm putting on everything right now. But I'm super happy I was able to find that finish that I like. So if JD wants to refinish it or re-stonewash it, he can himself. I'm sure he's more than capable of doing that stuff. And I just wanted to check the knife out. But I really like the knife, this design of a knife. I wish this guy would make some American-made versions, put it that way. Like, I like the style of this knife. I just a little bit beefier, a little bit heavier, but this same style I like a lot. While we're talking about the Veros, Steve also lent me in a Vero, and I wish I could remember the name of this one either, but this one is the Integral with, I guess not on that side. I don't know if that's carbon fiber or G10. Y'all tell me. I think it's G10. I don't know. It's got a cool feel to it too. Like, even between the two Veros, they're tuned completely different. So this one feels, on the finger flick, it's got a better detent, so it kind of finger flicks better. But on this flipper, I think y'all probably heard it. It's not fun. The flipper's not fun at all on this one. I do not like the flipper on this one. Well, how it's tuned anyhow. If it's a lighter detent, it'd probably be all right. Transversely, this one's just the opposite. So it's a little bit light on the detent for the finger flick. Not that it doesn't do it fine. It's just not super gratifying compared to the other one. But the flipper on this one is awesome. I like the broadness of this one. So this width here. I like the broadness of this one. They're about the same size knives. They're pretty damn close anyhow. But you can see that it's much thinner on the integral. So, two cool Veros. See, the pocket clips are different style too. I guess that's a fix they did on different generations from what JD was telling me or whatever. But both of them are cool knives. I like the style of these a lot. Just like, wish you made something in America, you know. Speaking of which, Apex Alchemy, Billy, did a video about Made in America and brought up some valid points for sure. I'll probably do a rebuttal of it when I get my thoughts together, sort of. Not necessarily rebuttal, but I guess another 2 cents in on top of it. But maybe I'll go over there, Apex Alchemy, and watch his video. Worth checking out for sure. Yeah, let's do that last one. All right. Why not? So, I did the video last week about the M3, basically just based on the American-made point of view of it not being made in America kind of thing. I guess some people wanted me to say more, some people wanted to see it less. Everybody's got their own, you know, agenda when it comes to the M3 situation. I'm done talking about whether it is or it ain't. I'm just going to talk about the knife now. So, the knife, regardless of who or where it's manufactured, do I like it? Yeah, I think it's actually a really fucking cool knife. Would I buy it? Nah, probably not, honestly. But like I was saying on the Tucson, this is definitely a different style. Like, how many folders you see look like this? Like, there isn't a whole lot running out there. I mean, maybe because it's butt ugly and you think so or whatever, you know, but I like it. I think it's definitely different, definitely cool. This one's begging for some customization. So I'm going to talk to Steve, see what Steve wants to do on it. Maybe I'll customize it and send it back to him or something, or maybe he don't give a damn about it. I don't remember. I think he said something about not really caring about this knife, but, you know, that controversy thing, it'll fade. It's just like the Hoback situation. Like, I lost a lot of money on that Hoback situation, but I don't feel like anything's really changed. It didn't really slow Hoback down. I really, if it did, it didn't really slow him down that much. He seems to be doing just fine. Don't give a shit what we think. So, just the same thing with M3. They're gonna forge right ahead and not give a shit what we think. And they were doing fine before the knife community discovered them, you know, 6 months, a year ago, however you want to look at it. Like, they're gonna be fine. It's not gonna hurt nothing. It's just whether you choose to do business with somebody who may or may not be honest is up to you. That's the same with Hoback, right? Lastly, this is a knife that I most definitely would never have gone and got, but I'm super grateful. I've seen it in videos, and this is Herman. I think this is the Sig, I don't know. I can't remember. Sting? I don't know. I can't remember, dude. I'm sorry. Herman knives. This is my first experience with a Herman knife. Also my first experience with a titanium liner lock, inset liner lock. I guess you'd call it a liner lock. There's some very interesting things with this knife. This is only a flipper knife. I've said it's just a tiny bit of lock stick here and there, but you can't really push button this thing. It hurts the shit out of anything. But if you light switch it, man, it's lightning. It just pops right out there. There could be a point to me where I guess the flow of the knife just doesn't work for you. This is one of those knives for me. So you can see that he's got this nice green anodized here and on the back spacer, and the sides of this thing is kind of like a, I don't know, a lighter green, grayish. I don't know what you'd call that. The two together, I think, should be more contrasting, personally. And then the hardware being shiny versus, you know, anodized or whatever. I don't know if it's titanium or stainless hardware, but it is a proprietary pivot, and they do come with a tool. And also, just overall wise, like, it's just not my style of knife, but I really appreciate it. It's kind of like that, was it the Wolf? The Sherbakov, whatever the hell that Russian maker knife that I checked out a while back, a Rix. This reminds me a lot of that. Same kind of similar style blade, I guess you'd say. But this was definitely a lot slicker as far as, like, not slicker in the hand, but slicker as far as, like, the feel of it. The other one, that Sherbakov, was kind of more blocky and beefy. The Sherbakov's more my style, I guess I'd have to say. But you see how the milled lines are all through that pocket clip too, and they all match. And I know some people really like that kind of stuff. To me, that's too much. I need some contrast, especially with this pivot on this side. I don't know. Stylistically, it doesn't really gel with me. Also, too, you know, in our knife reviewers and everything like that, people see threaded into titanium bolts as a negative thing. Like as a machinist, I really don't, but you know, everybody has their own, you know, some people like inserted lock bars, and some people don't care about that kind of stuff. To me, it's like, if the knife functions, I don't care. Like, what are you worried about something that happens 10 years down the road? Send it back to the guy. If you don't want it, then find somebody who can. Like, it's not that big a deal to me, but that's my perspective, right? But you can see that these 3 bolts right here are the ones that come from this side that are just all the way through, and then he just rounds them off. Just button heads at the top of those screws and polishes them. So it's the same thing over here with this 2 screws you see in the back right here. They actually hold, so this whole frame, this whole side panel right here is titanium, and it's just got a little insert that uses for the lock bar. So that's what those, see if I kind of see it in there. See, start right about here and goes up. So it's a little titanium insert that's just bolted in with those 2 screws right there. That's the end of those 2 screws. So it's just one little piece of titanium. So it's almost like a full tight scale with just a liner lock on the inside. It's kind of strange. I didn't think I'd like it, but honestly, like, it kind of feels like a frame lock. You really don't notice a huge difference. I don't like the way it's relieved on the inside. Let's see if we can see that little step. Let me turn around where you actually can see it, what I'm talking about. See that little step that's milled in there? Medford does that stuff too. I hate when they do a transition like that, a step mill transition. Just chamfer mill it, man. I don't know, like for me, I don't like that. I don't like the 2D, just 3D it or chamfer mill it, one of the two, make it look better. I don't know. To me, I don't like that feel on my thumb, on my finger, whatever else, like that sharper edges. I know it's probably, I'm probably the only person that has ever said that, but I'm just not fond of that. Overall, this knife is definitely impressive action-wise. If you're one of those fissure flipper guys, you can definitely get addicted to that. And the blade geometry is good. And I think this was in M398, if I remember correctly. I can't see it because I don't have my glasses on. But I'm going to need to get those sent back to the prospective owners. Perspective, I guess that's the wrong word. What am I trying to say? The cool owners that lent me their knives, I need to send them back to them. So I need to make the pocket clip for JD's for that Schrade. That's going to have to hang out for a minute. But the other 2 I'll probably send back to him. And then I'll probably include something nice for him to put on his channel. Steve, if you want to say anything, man, let me know. Not Scott's thing, Steve, but the Steve who lent me those other knives. If you want to see anything that I got, let me know. I'll lend you something. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to send your stuff back unless you want something modified, like the M3 modified or something. Other than that, I'm going to put the video of me modifying JD's finger choil on the end of this. It's kind of like a DIY way of doing some work on your knives. The only thing I didn't add to that video is you got to keep things cool. What I didn't remove hardly any material, so I didn't have to worry about cooling it in water. I didn't mention it in that video, but if you do cut a lot of material, you need to keep your blade cool. I think it kind of goes hand in hand, but sometimes I got to say stuff that I think is like everybody knows and some people don't. So if you want to watch the mods, it's coming up next. Otherwise, y'all be cool. See you next week. Later.
What's up, y'all? So this is going to be a quick little tutorial thing, I guess. And showing you this is basically just a way that I wanted to modify this knife. And I figured maybe some of you guys can learn, give your input, maybe you have a better way of doing it, but this is a way of doing it. So this is my buddy JD's knife. He sent it in basically me to check out and stuff like that. But if you look at this little finger choil right here, you can see how it's been modified. I don't know if you can see that good or not, but this area is not super clean. It looks like he did it with a Dremel. So I'm going to clean that up, and I'm just going to show you guys basically the method of which I do to clean it up. So the first thing I want to talk about is what I'm going to use. And so you can buy these at pretty much any, I don't know, Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight might have them, I don't know. But these particular ones are Craftsman. These are just grinding stones with the arbor on them, right? So they got like a 1/4-inch arbor. Here's the other 2 or 3 that came out of it. So first thing you want to do is figure out what stone you want to use. And you want to use the square shoulder of the stone in a drill press. So this pink one is the most fine stone I have. So what I want to do is kind of try to figure out the radius and make sure that this stone will make that radius good. I don't know if that makes sense or not. I'm gonna set it down where you guys can see it better. Maybe, I don't know why I do this. Let's do it this way. I'm trying to make this make sense for you guys. There you go. So when I'm cutting it, I want to try to make that match as best I can. So if this diameter is too big, it won't make the radius. If it's something smaller, you can use a smaller diameter. So these have the little points on them, but you can use a square shoulder in the drill press to do it. I'll show you my setup in a second. I'm gonna pause it, and then I'll get back to you after I've got the knife laid out, and then on the little drill press. I'll show you in a second. All right, so I got the knife apart, and basically all I did was take this part of the blade and just paint it with the black magic marker. This is just a layout where I want that arch to be when I close the knife, or when I open the knife. I want it to kind of match the frame on that. So I don't need both sides of the knife, so I'm just going to use the side that does not have the lock bar on it, just to make it easier, and it'll make sense in a minute when I show you how I got it set up too. So I'll put the knife in, put it against the stop pin like this, right? Holding everything together. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want it as close as possible, right? So now when I flip it over to this side, I can see what I'm looking for. I'm just gonna take this scribe. I can't do it on camera because I can't hold my hands right. I'm just gonna take it in there and mark that arc how I want it, so I can cut it and be somewhat precision, not cutting into like the detent track or nothing like that. You can see the detent track's kind of close on this side. So you gotta be kind of careful of that sort of thing. So I'll go back in a second and show you. All right, the rig reveal. So, you know, you always got to use what you have around you. I've been known to rig quite a few things. Jerry rigging is definitely one of my techniques. Anywho, so just a square block. You can use a 2x4, whatever you have that's as square as you can get it, right? You want something that's going to sit as square to that spindle as you can. So what I did was use a piece of nylon. Both these have a piece of nylons underneath, and I bolted this. Okay, it's got paper tape, painter's tape underneath it. But I bolted it to this block to give me some control. This is just going through the hole in the blade to keep the stop pin going. As you can see, I can pull on it. It's not moving, right? The other thing to consider is if it gets caught in this rotation, it's going to rotate this way. So I don't want the pointy end of this, the cutty end, facing towards me, right? I want this side facing towards me. Now all I'm going to do is turn that spindle on. Oh, I forgot to show you the layout. So there's a, I don't know if you can see that. Sorry, the cat just jumped beside me. You see that little shiny mark towards the end of this radius right here? That's kind of what I'm going for. For not much material removed, just want to clean it up, make it look good, okay? So now I'm just going to stick it in here. Basically, after I turn it on, I'm just going to kind of manipulate it by hand to make it look good. This is how I'm going to do it. All right, I'll come back when I get it. All right, back to show you the progress. So you can see now, this is nice and clean looking. It looks nice and square. I'm going to hold it up where you can see it a little better here. This don't come out for shit, does it? All right, well, I'm trying, people, I'm trying. Anyway, you can see it good. I think let's angle it a little bit. There we go. So you can see how it's nice and smooth in here now. Nice even transition into my layout lines. I didn't cross my layout lines. I'm close to them, but I didn't cross the layout lines. So no, I'm not gonna be, the blade's not gonna be inside the frame. I want to keep that look in that same line and try to do it. Now, I did have to go a little further into the blade to get that little notch out. But all in all, it feels really good, and we're going to try to now polish it up, make it look even better. All right, hang tight. All right, so coming in back in here, we're going to do this nice and even polish. So you could do this in the drill press. What I found is the shanks right here are too small for my drill press, and I end up generally snapping them off. So this is just a Dremel. It's a rubber wheel and a Dremel, nothing on it, just the rubber wheel. I'm just going to go gently through here, and I'm just going to kind of polish it nice and even, try to get the transition real good. I'll show you guys when I get done. Hang tight. All right, I think I pretty much got it all done. You can look at that, see it's pretty nice little finish there. You know, you really can't tell it's not professionally done. So I'll get the knife back put together and show you the end results. Hang tight. All right, here's a quick shot of the blade all finished up before I assemble it, so you can see how nice and shiny it is in there. How good it looks on both sides. Nice, easy, smooth transition. Pretty simple process. All right, let's throw the knife back together. All right, here it is all back together now. So, you see how it looks there? Just a little bit of that blade poking through. I could have took it a little bit higher, but I didn't want to push it. Nice and smooth. Looks nice and even, professional. You wouldn't know it didn't come that way, would you? That's what I was going for. Anyway, quick, easy fix. Smoothed it up. Looks a lot smoother, cleaner. Hope you like it, JD. I may or may not have put the hardware back in the right position. I know I didn't Loctite it, so you're going to have to do that when you get it back. But that's it for JD's Tucson. Quick little mod. Hopefully y'all have fun with it.